Hey there, today I'm gonna try to convince you to go board climbing. Let's go. So board climbing for the uninitiated is just a flat style of climbing, very strength and arm based type of movement that it requires a lot of body tension and engagement. It's very, very active climbing, typically done on a 40-degree at least overhang wall, and these walls come in many varieties, shapes, and forms. For example, kilter is all white, has a great lighting system, typically pretty soft. Moonboard, hard as shit, that's all you need to know. Tension board too, really nice, very aesthetically good with the feet. So as you can see, it comes in many of varieties, and there's more than these. These are just like basically the big three. Shonen, let's go, One Piece. And so from there, each of these boards is connected to an app. That app, yeah, will connect directly to the board, and then you can choose routes on it, and that'll change the lighting on the board. As you can see, these boards have lights. Therefore, our big dumb monkey brain doesn't have to remember the routes. So using our primitive monkey brain, we can go, ooh, pretty colors, and follow the colors all the way to the top in order to accomplish the climb. Now, real quick, partner, before you start protesting it, let me give you all the benefits of the boards right now. First off, when it comes to board climbing, when you fall off, it's very nice and safe. No matter how you fall off, the ground is always kind of close because the board is so overhung. And because you're climbing in kind of like this 2D fashion, 2D meaning not 3D. I hope you know what that means, IRL, you feel me? Anyways, because you're climbing this 2D fashion, when you fall, it's typically always on your feet, on your butt, or on your back. And because the board is overhung, the falls are never that epic or tremendous. I myself have never seen anyone hurt themselves while taking a fall on these board climbs. But unlike gym climbing, where I've seen a lot of people hurt themselves while falling, board climbing is infinitely safer. So because of the safety factor, do you know what happens when it comes to safety? When things are safe, you're not afraid to try hard. And because you're not afraid to try hard, you're gonna build a lot of good fast firing muscle fibers type of technique climbing. So board climbing, because they're safe, you're able to try really hard. By trying really hard, you're gonna get really strong at climbing. When you get really strong at climbing, you're happy. Your parents are proud of you. You can look in the mirror. Anyways, so safe falls, excellent. Not to mention, when it comes to these boards, you see how the holes light up, meaning anyone can set routes on them, including you, even if the route is stupid. But the point here is there's a large variety, a large storage of climbs that anyone can use. And because you have so many of them to go for, it's kind of hard to ever get bored, especially if you have one of the bigger boards that go 12 by 12. Those exist, they're totally bangers. But even if they don't, you can make up your own climbs. It's excellent. And thanks to the large variety of climbs on the boards, you have something that's pretty cool. It's hard to do in other places, but you can try your ability at flashing. Flashing, for the uninitiated, is to do a climb your first try. And if you like to build up this skill, but don't have access to a large variety of climbs where you could easily see the holes and you don't need to memorize them all right from the get-go by making it up on like a spray wall or something, with these lit up holes, you can simply look at it and try to flash it as many times as you like, because there's like an infinite number of problems. That's just an added bonus that you can use when it comes to these type of boards. Now, another good thing about these boards is these boards have staying power. Staying power is like the dad that never left. It's great, man. Okay, so you suck today. 1 year later, you try the same problem you sucked at a year ago. You keeping up the timeline, and you realize you've gotten better at it. Those seasons come and go, people leave, the problems that you did the other day in the gym are now gone. This problem on the board will forever stay in your heart for all the time. Weep, weep. And you realize you're a little bit better 1 year later. Excellent, good. That is a concrete marker that you have improved, even if you don't keep track of nothing else. As long as this board stays the same, which it will, you will know that you improved on it because it has never left you. Not to mention, these boards are universally placed across different planets, including Mars, but it's a little bit far to get there. So just try Earth, they're not too bad. So no matter where you go in the world, you can climb with a lot of other people and talk mad shit to them like, yo dog, I sent that problem. Oh yeah, I bet you can't do it. So you can do that, and that's totally fun. Now, let's quickly get into why some people may not want to hop into board climbing. It typically goes something like this. Partner, you ready? I am a new climber. I climb maybe V3, V5 indoor. I'm not very strong. Therefore, I'm not gonna climb it because I believe that board climbing is only for strong people. Bitch, let me tell you something. The reason why people board climb, besides the fact that it is astonishingly fun and sexy and sexual, is because it makes you a better, stronger climber. So, if you don't know this, When we board climb, we're trying to improve ourselves. We're not necessarily looking at how weak we are already. But from your point of view, you may feel like you're unqualified because you feel like you're totally weak and you can't stand into the same ring as us. Don't get me wrong, that's true. But we all want to boost you up and help you become a better climber. So please hop in on the board climbs, because these board climbs, even though they lit up by lights, they have this very fancy function called I could light up my problem and climb it, and it's a V10. And once I'm done, you can light up your problem and climb it, even though it's a V0. And it can be done on the same wall without stepping over each other's toes. So it's also adds the element to being social with other people without stepping on other people's toes, which is a big bonus, unless you're the moon board and then you're fucking switching and slow as shit. Come on, make it better. Fuck. Oh, where was I at this? Yeah, let's go over another excuse. I want to be a technical climber. Board climbing is just poling hard. There's no technique. Blah. I know you think that technique is all about being as weak as possible, but technique is actually using what strength you have to climb as efficiently as possible. Technique, nowhere in the word technique is be weak. They're not synonymous. Technique is simply using what you have to the most of your abilities. Therefore, you should also use the technique of using whatever strength you do have on the board to boost that level of climbing. Let me explain a couple of techniques that are very commonly used on the board. The ability to cut loose, and control your body in mid-air while doing a little bit of a scorpion, and then accurately placing your feet right back onto the hole immediately. Therefore, you conserve as much energy and you're not wasting time swinging around. That in itself is a technique that you may not have experienced a lot, because you tend to focus on slab and vert type of climbing, thinking yourself that that's all there is to climbing. But this active form of technical type of climbing that's very physical can only boost all your other fields of climbing. Some say that when you first start something, you should build a nice wide base and foundation in order to build up the rest of your climbing. There's a fun saying in the climbing world called, I'm a slab specialist. Bro, you just fucking suck at everything else. You're not a slab specialist. That's like me saying, oh, you know, I'm a cooking rice specialist. Nah, bitch, you just don't know how to cook nothing else but rice. That's all it is, really. You just suck at everything. So please, let's just bring us back down to earth. You're not a slab specialist. With that being said, yes, the technique of trying very hard, being able to lock off on the board, is something that you should have in your arsenal, which can only help you when it comes to all your other forms of climbing. Let me tell you something, a fun story. This is a personal story, just between you and me, partner. I'll come a little bit closer so that you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right, good. I remember when I first started moonboarding. Trash! 2 weeks later, still trash! However, I did get very accustomed to the 40-degree angle, and it no longer felt that extreme to me. And then fast forward a couple years, you know what 40 degrees feels like to me now? When I'm climbing on the board? It's kind of funny. But me and my friends have a joke that 40 is basically slab. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of feels like slab at this point in time. So now that I have successfully convinced you to start board climbing, you may be wondering, Chang, you have successfully convinced me to start board climbing. How do I start without getting injured? Because I hear people get injured a lot board climbing. And I would simply say, you know what else? People also get injured a lot living. Stop being a bitch. Anyways, so you want to start board climbing. Excellent. The first thing you should do is take that angle of the wall, because some walls are adjustable. Ooh, technology. So some walls are adjustable, and you want to have it at 40 degrees. The reason why we want it at 40 degrees is actually pretty simple. We want to get you accustomed to climbing in steep angles immediately without holding your hand like a big old baby, because you're a full-grown man or boy or teenager. You're alive. That's the point. I don't care how old you are. Wow, or I don't care about your gender. Wow, no sexism here. So we want you to be at 40 degrees right from the bat to get you accustomed to it and get you introduced to this world of board climbing. Now, if you are new to board climbing, I highly recommend avoiding the moon board. Shit's hard. Go for something like the kilter board, easier, or the tension board, not too bad. TB2, excellent. Those other variants, because they actually have like V1s and V0s, whereas the moon board, hard as shit. All right, cool, got that, good. So now that you're climbing at 40 degrees, because you are, don't be a punk and push it back to 20 and say, oh, I need to slowly adjust. And shut up! Just dive in. This is a cold water. Stop fucking dipping your toe in, you punk. You're never gonna experience the sensation, ooh, ah, if you do, ah, ah. You feel me, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, woohoo, you're gonna fucking dive right in at 40 degrees. You're gonna get comfortable with it. And you're gonna dive in about twice a week. Why is it only twice a week? Well, again, it's kind of strenuous. Your fingers aren't that too used to it. So we're gonna start very conservative at twice a week. I'm gonna talk about this in a later part of the video. So you're gonna dive into it twice a week, great. Your sessions are gonna be anywhere between 30 minutes to I'm no longer having fun, right? Because if you're having like a blast on the board, I'm not gonna say don't climb, man. So on the boards, you're gonna do at least 30 minutes. And the way you're gonna do it is you're gonna select one climb. Just go easy, man. Don't try to go hard at all. Don't be grade chasing, because grades don't matter. Yes, they do, but that's a different video. So you're gonna select the climb. You're gonna give it 3 to 5 attempts or less than 5 minutes of effort. And if you're able to succeed it, nice, next one. If you aren't, boo-hoo, next one. This is just so that you get a variety of movement in your climbing so that when you first begin, you're not stuck doing the same movement, might risk the overuse injury. But mainly just to get you accustomed to moving without different varieties and getting your ass kicked and falling. And more importantly, not more importantly, but to get you accustomed to the holds on the board. Did you know this? This is a fun fact, but every single hold on the boards have a name. This one's Michelle. This one's Anastasia. This is George IV. By the way, if you believe that, you're gullible. Ain't these holes ain't got no motherfucking names. They're just holds. Those are, okay. So now that you're doing your 30 minutes of climbing twice a week, and you're only spending 3 to 5 attempts or less than 5 minutes of effort on it, you're gonna slowly start to build up your base of what it feels like to climb on the boards, which is good. And I want you to remember that when you're climbing this, I don't want you to think of it as a strength-based activity. I want you to think of it as I need to be super technical. And the reason why I fall is because I lack the proper technique and engagement that is required. It's a lot like this. You could hold on to a polo bar, right? And then while you're holding onto a polo bar, you could pull it halfway, and then you could hold it halfway. But when you're holding it halfway, you could also start to squeeze your muscles in that halfway position. I'm sure you can. And then from here, you can transition to the left, or in this case, right, and transition to the right, or in this case, left for me. Anyways, you know what I mean. Point is, it's all about being active and engaged. That's what I want you to think about. In reality, you're probably just gonna look like you're falling and you're probably gonna forget all this. But I want you to come back to this and know that I was talking about some real shit, you know? And lastly, to sum this all up, I want this to be known that board climbing isn't special. Though it may be a more physical form of climbing, it in itself isn't special. I know people that exclusively, when I mean exclusively, I mean that's all they do every day. They're always on the board, just board climbing up the ass. That's all they do. So it is definitely something that you can do every day for hours and hours on end. However, when you first start off, probably not the best idea. You don't have the integrity in your joints and all that stuff yet to do it yet. But in the long run, understand board climbing is just a normal form of climbing. Don't think of it as strength-based, just think of it as a different form of technique. That'll help you start to think about it a little bit better. I think that's really all I have to say about board climbing. It's pretty good. Anyways, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time, partner. Woo.